Hello, welcome to Crypto Ramble. My name is Desiree. I am talking to Joel Valenzuela. I've had him on the channel, I think once or twice, I can't remember, but we've had a lot of interesting conversations, both in person, such as at Pork Fest and at Liberty Forum, and also online through our content creation. Joel is a Dash ambassador. He loves to talk about Dash. It's a privacy coin. We've talked about it some. I've talked about it some in my books or on my channel. But today, he's here to talk about something called the Fiat Free Challenge, which sounds exciting. As you may know, depending on whether or not you've watched my interview before, Joel has talked about how he lives on crypto, which is quite a feat because you need fiat for so many things. So he's going to tell us all about what this challenge is and how to make it happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, hey everyone, and thanks for having me. It's one of those things where you kind of fall into, sometimes destiny sort of puts you in where you're supposed to be. I always cared about freedom. I never thought that I would end up in some like digital money or to the tech sector or anything like that. And it just happened to fall into cryptocurrency because it was the biggest, most efficient way of achieving some kind of real freedom in the world. And of course, as such, in order to become, while I was writing about, I was a crypto journalist for a while, still do that stuff. While I was in the space and telling people about, how cool this stuff is, I figured, hey, it's kind of irresponsible to talk about it if you don't know what it's really about. It's just like, for example, if you give financial advice, not being a financial advisor, there's a reason why. Now, I don't believe in the laws against that kind of thing, but there's a reason why people made those laws come about. And it just, as part of due diligence, I decided to just live all off of cryptocurrency. And then in mid-2016, I closed my bank account. I still don't have a bank account. I still don't live off of fiat. And it's one of those things that I think enables me to speak about cryptocurrency the way I do. Because it's like, now I kind of know what it happens, know how it works. There's a lot of people saying, but what about this coin? What about that coin? I'm like, still, that doesn't even work because X, Y, Z, because I actually use this stuff in day out is my life. So you kind of talk about what you know the most. And so rather than talk about some weird theoretical thing that I'm not familiar with, I became familiar with it. So that's what the Fiat Free Challenge is about. Basically, the challenge is, for the month of May, try to spend as much crypto as you can on things and as little fiat as you can on things. That's really as simple as it is. And just at the end of the month, figure out how far you got. Because I did not know what I was doing when I decided to start living on crypto. I didn't. I just thought, well, there's only one way to find out, and that's to stop accepting fiat for payments, which is what I did at the end of 2015. And it's throwing yourself into the river, so to speak, makes you learn how to swim real fast. So I kind of did that, and I think that it was easy. I wouldn't say it's easy, but it was more possible than I would have thought, because it's all theoretical, it's all crazy, it's all whatever. But once it's your life, you have to figure it out. You figure it out. So I'm encouraging other people to almost do the same. I'm encouraging other people to try to live as much as they can off of cryptocurrency and just see how far you get. You might be able to get like 20% of the way. I paid every time I went out to eat, I paid in some kind of gift code that I bought with crypto. Okay, well there's that. Or I paid my electricity bill. Yay. There's that. Or you did a combination of these things. And I think that a lot of people think that they're kind of slave to the old way, the old financial system. That it's like, well, if they shut down my bank account or I don't have a card, I can't pay for things, I'm out of luck. And I want people to sort of take a courageous step and just, dip their toe in the water a little bit and be like, hey, it's not so bad. It's not so bad in the crypto-only world here after all.
Do you have a car? That's just something I just thought of. You do. So how did you have a car? If it's okay I think a car is okay to talk about. Like, did you have a car before you started this, or did you? I don't know, like. Okay, so how do you pay your registration fees, for example, for your car?
Yeah, so there's a few different ways. Now, of course, this has been a fluid process over the years, and also people have bought their cars. People have sold cars for crypto in the state directly, and I mean, it does happen. As far as registration, so when I had it registered in Arizona, at that time, you could renew the registration for 5 years, right, at a time, and you don't have to worry about it for 5 years. And I had one of those early days crypto debit cards that did not require any ID. Basically, it would have like a spending limit of up to 2,500 or whatever, and then they rush out to 2,000 to 1,000, and then now they don't really exist anymore. You have to kind of give ID for one of those kinds of things. So I think that's what I used. Now, since then, other things have gone about. So first off, in the United States, there's this fantastic company, depending on what you think of it, depends on a few things, called Walmart. And Walmart, as part of it, has this thing called the Money Center, which essentially is a bank for the unbanked, because there's a lot of people who are unbanked in this country, and including, not limited to, but including the estimated 10, 11 million illegal immigrants who cannot legally get a bank account, but they still are here, they're still working. So what do? So, Walmart does. Well, the Money Center lets you basically pay any kind of bills. They even advertise you can pay your taxes and child support at the Walmart Money Center. Now you can get gift codes for Walmart with crypto, and you can plug those into the phone, into your Walmart Pay app, because they have a payment app thingy, because they want to save on credit card fees. They'd rather their customers, preload it and do it there. And if they have a Walmart Pay terminal at the bill pay center, you can do that. And there's been other people. I don't think I've actually done that part myself, but I do know other people who have. Now, there's another fantastic company called Lamium, LAMIUM.io. And that's the one thing that, luckily, they started operating in the U.S. not too long before this challenge, because that's like the one game changer. Basically, it's like Purse.io for bills. Essentially, you upload your bill, you put all the information in, and then you pay the invoice with crypto, and then someone will see that and they will pay their bill for you, and then the crypto goes to them once it's confirmed. So you're using a network of other people to kind of pay your bills for you, and you give them crypto. So it works out for them because they get to acquire crypto without giving their ID to some exchange or something like that, and you get your bills paid. So it works out very cleverly. So you could basically pay any kind of bill like that, and that's always been the most difficult thing to explain when I've tried to explain how do you live off of crypto. Is what do you do about bills? It's always, and in the U.S. especially, it's hard because of, say, electricity bills, rent bills, things like registration type. Those kinds of bills are always the most complicated ones, and I've always had to do workarounds like, I got this prepaid debit card, I can still use it for a little while, or I got a friend to pay it and I just paid them instead. I've done that a few times for different things, and there's always been things I've done. But this makes this is now something where my advice isn't, go work it out, see if you can find a way. Now it's like, no, just go right here and do it, and it's easy.
Well, that sounds very interesting. It sounds a bit difficult, but I actually think like the way we do money right now, like with the bank accounts and logging in, like that's actually already difficult. We're just very used to it. So it doesn't seem like that much work. So I think that is an option. That Lamium idea sounds like it works out for both parties involved. And I wanted to ask you, what issues have people who, I'm guessing people who've tried this, like what are the most common issues that people have when they try to do this fiat-free challenge?
Well, I'll probably only be able to speak about my own experience because, let's be honest, pretty much no one else is trying this. And I think there's a few, like my buddy Ken Bozak has been kind of a crypto nomad for a long time, and there's a few, like I've known a few people. One of my buddies has been living all off of crypto since 2015 without a bank account, but mostly what he does is he exchanges it for cash. He doesn't do a lot of direct payment. And so there's not many people to draw on for the experience. The bill pay type thing has always been the most annoying aspect. So, for example, if the gift code thing has always been a great workaround, especially since bitrefill came out, and if you use Dash, you get as soon as you hit send, basically you get the code, so you can be in line ordering at a store, and then you just buy it and scan the gift code. It's almost like they accept crypto directly. Now, that's of course with chains and things like that. Now the mom and pop cafe kind of a thing is the one thing that's like, it's more difficult, but there are a few local to me that accept crypto. And so I do that. But just if I'm tired of those places and don't want to go to a chain restaurant, I want to go to a different mom and pop thing. That's where it becomes difficult. I either have to sell them on it, or I have to just sell some for cash and just use the cash for when I'm spoiled. When I don't want to, I'm tired of eating at the one of the 5 places that takes crypto, or the 20, 30 plus chain established. Then you kind of have to, but that's not a necessity at that point. That's a luxury. So now outside of New Hampshire, I'm sure paying for gas for your vehicle would be more challenging. Once again, if you have a Walmart or a Sam's Club or something that has a gas station there, it's all in the same system. You can use those gift codes to pay. Now, I'm blessed because in this area of the country, the Northeast and parts of Canada, there's a pump called Irving, the Irving gas stations, and you can buy plastic gift cards for Irving. You can buy them, on Amazon, which again you can use crypto to get stuff off Amazon, and then you just swipe those directly at the pump, and that's what one of these looks like. So it's just it's just for gas. It's not for other things. And so I use that. There was a gas station, I think there is again, that accepts crypto directly here in New Hampshire, but it's like an hour away, so I don't really use that one. But elsewhere, that's where it becomes a little bit more difficult. I think you can get Shell station gift cards as well, but I'd have to look into that a little bit more directly. And also, if you're in a small town or a small town type state that doesn't have national grocery store chains, that can become a little more difficult. And so, for example, you can get gift cards to Whole Foods, to Safeway, to Target, to Walmart, if you can even count that as groceries, and all those kinds of things. Vaughn's if you're out in the west coast of the U.S., Carrefour if you're in Europe, all those kinds of things like that. Tesco if you're in the U.K. You can get gift cards to all that kind of stuff. And just for example here, the most common grocery store is Market Basket, and another one called Hannaford, and you cannot get gift cards for those. So depending on the location, it can become a little bit more complicated. But generally speaking, the most difficult bit is just when you don't want to always be doing chain establishments anymore. When you just want to do little mom and pop shops or cafes or whatever, and you don't happen to have any crypto. So
that was very educational. I wanted to point out to the audience that earlier this year, I was trying to figure out how to use the cryptocurrency that had been donated to me by some of the particle community to spend on a place to stay. And I remember I had messaged you, and I was like, oh, who would know how to do this? And you were like, you could get a gift card and get something for like hotels.com. And I didn't know that at that point. So that's good. And then something else that I was thinking as you were explaining all this difficulty to me was how much human progress is held back by regulation, because the best thing would be for, that card that you had at the beginning for the cryptocurrency, for crypto to be integrated into the existing systems that we have, so you can use a card, so you can spend your cryptocurrency. But you can't do that anymore without compromising. Yeah. It's basically just like using the exact same monetary system we have now, and that sucks.
And I should say, if you already have your ID that you use for financial transactions, and you just want to experiment living off of crypto, it is so easy, right? I'm I live the hard path, which is I don't use AML KYC enabled services. But that's just because I want like a real take on what works and what doesn't. I don't want any of this like, well, I still kind of have a bank account, but it starts in crypto, so like I'm the guinea pig. So not everyone has to be like me. But for example, integrated into the Dash wallet itself is this thing, this exchange service called Uphold, which has some pretty easy, low fees, and you can just buy and sell, go in and out of Dash. It's right integrated into the Dash wallet itself, and they have a debit card which lets you convert straight from crypto every time you swipe. So of course you need your ID for that service, right. But if you get your Dash wallet, you go buy bill, you pay for bills with Lamium off of it, you go buy gift cards for everywhere, you buy specific things, and then you have a card associated. You can swipe, and it doesn't. You don't have to load it first. It's one of those kind of like swipe as you go, and it gets instantly converted out of crypto into fiat for each transaction. So that's like the ultimate experience. It's just with that, it's just easy. But of course, then you'll just probably just swipe all the time and just get lazy about figuring out other things to do. And you were mentioning about travel and places to stay. That has really grown in recent times because cheapair.com, of course, I'm a big fan of that service. They have flights anywhere and also hotel rooms and things like that. And if you don't like that selection, Travala is another thing that works for accommodations. And then, of course, with gift cards, you can get Hotels.com and Airbnb gift cards and things like that. You can also buy Uber credit, which is great because Uber credit is the same credit for Uber Eats. So now you get delivery and stuff from even restaurants that don't necessarily have like a gift card option directly. So there's like all these kinds of cool things. It's basically, you absolutely can live off of cryptocurrency today 100%. And especially if you don't even have any cryptocurrency income, but you get direct deposits to your account, you can do that through bitwage and combined with uphold. Then you can get your salary instantly converted into crypto. And the company that pays you doesn't even need to know it. You just give your bank account details to them. Here, do direct deposit here, but it's actually bitwage's account. And then you just get paid in crypto. And then with all these other things, how you can spend it, it's like, it's very possible today. And in that vein, because not everyone knows what I know from just experience, I've started to make a video series called How to Live on Crypto. And I finished the first episode, which is just how to use a wallet. I'm making it really newbie friendly, right? Just so people know, like people don't make mistakes. Here's how you do it, this, that, and explain, just not ways that's basically I want people to just be able to click video, and then they know how to do it. So if you want to look up How to Live on Crypto, and it's on my channel, the Digital Cash Network on YouTube and Library, LBRY, and on 3Speak, I believe, but I don't know how popular that is yet. But basically everywhere you can find that. And next one I'm putting out is on how to buy crypto, which includes, non-KYC methods and KYC methods. And then I'll start laying everything out because then I really want there to be no excuse for people. That's kind of the long and short of it. All
right. I was going to mention that I still haven't signed up for Uphold because I use Brave Rewards. Like I have, I think 2 of my channels signed up. But when they introduced Uphold, because they never had it at the beginning, or rather Uphold never had KYC, I just haven't bothered to do anything because I just don't want to do that. I'm going to have to. And the funny thing is, I don't really have anything to hide. I use my real name. But I just, on principle, it's I don't want to, do it. So I think you explaining that is very good for, I guess, the more average person out there. But it seems like this is a long way to go, and someone like me is more likely to even bother to try to do this challenge. I think there's one more thing I wanted to ask you, or rather just confirm that this kind of challenge is something that you can do with any coin, basically, because you're converting it to gift cards. That seems like the primary method. Or if you don't mind doing KYC, I guess, then you don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, so theoretically, yes. In practice, it becomes more difficult depending on what you use. So first off, if you use BTC, it you're going to have higher fees and long delay times depending on whatever happens. It's just not going to be as smooth of an experience. I have my experience in using Dash, which is one reason I recommend, but the other reason is for actual there's some actual roadblocks to not using it. So for example, bitrefill, which is where I get all these gift codes and stuff, accepts I think Bitcoin, Litecoin, I forget a few others, and not Bitcoin Cash. So Bitcoin Cash would be the most logical answer, but it's not accepted. So for example, you can't, and there are gift card services that you like eGifter that do accept Bitcoin Cash, but they won't give you the gift card instantly. And even if you use say Litecoin on bitrefill, it won't be instant. Like you can't, you'll have to wait for confirmations the old school way, but not with Dash. And I've been in line at the burrito joint at Chipotle, and after I order my burrito, they tell me how much it is. I enter the amount of the gift card, hit buy, and as soon as I hit send, I have it, and they scan it. It's like right like that, and that's only with Dash. I think they might have something similar for Lightning or something like that. But as far as the other coins, you would have to wait. You have to plan out ahead of time. Right now, Lamium, the bill pay service, accepts Bitcoin and Dash only. I believe they might be working on Bitcoin Cash, but like right now, that's what's available. So you wouldn't be able to pay all those bills. And I top up I pay my phone bill with bitrefill. And so based on whatever you're using, there's like a collection of a few that would really work. Like I think you'd have to do, like BTC is accepted kind of everywhere, but of course it has its issues with it being an actual fast and cheap coin to use. So then basically you're left with Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash, and Dash, and that's kind of it up at the top. Things like Monero has very little merchant acceptance in a lot of these more mainstream platforms, for example. But it's usually going to be those three. Litecoin is kind of like, it's not actually used that much for payments in terms of these other services. It consistently ranks like really low. So it's basically Bitcoin Cash or Dash. And that's kind of more of a regional thing too. Like if you're in Australia or Japan or something like that, it's going to be much more Bitcoin Cash heavy. If you're in like Western Europe, like Central Europe, Venezuela, Thailand, it's going to be a little bit more Dash heavy. And it depends on the services like Purse.io, which recently came back from the dead after like a week of like doubt.
Yeah, I thought they closed.
Yes, but then basically Roger Ver saved them. So they work on Bitcoin Cash, I believe. And so you can deposit Dash to buy your Amazon gift cards there, but it gets converted on the way. So it's a little bit more of a direct step to just do Bitcoin Cash if you're more concerned about larger savings on Amazon and, of course, the process in the time. Like when I buy stuff off Amazon, just because my time is valuable, I just go there. When I get to the checkout page, whatever amount it is, I just open a new tab, bitrefill, buy the gift code for the exact amount, and just plug it right in. And it's faster than if I had to type out a credit card number and put it in there. But like if you want to wait for someone to pick up your order and then deal with some extra stuff, then Purse would be good. But again, you'd have to find a different thing to pay your phone bill, for example, because bitrefill is how I do that, and bitrefill will not accept Bitcoin Cash. So it's all, and then even if they did, I wouldn't be able to just walk into a store, order, and then buy the card there. It would have to be like a little bit of a delay behind it. And so yeah, essentially it's down to those two, but in my personal experience, Dash tends to work a lot better.
All right. Okay, so I think we're out of time, but that's super educational. I think I'm going to have to try this as something because like you said, this is not something most people would bother to do. But I think it was McAfee was on my channel, and he was like, people need to unlock their own cages. And like, if we have like some technology to do something different, I mean, no one's going to do it but like me and you. Like that, it's just like individual people deciding to start.
Yeah. We'll start the ball rolling. And I want to just end with saying we're living in crazy times, and central banks are ruining currencies around the world. And it's not like Bitcoiner propaganda anymore. Like now I'm starting to get scared for people who I know who don't have anything like gold or silver or cryptocurrencies, because I don't know what the value of the purchasing value of fiat currencies is going to do. And I'm kind of scared for some people they might just lose everything there. And it's starting to become a little bit more urgent, which is why I decided to try to kick off this challenge now, because it's like, okay, now it's starting to get bad, but we haven't felt the effects yet. It could be a month or two or a few years, maybe even a couple of years or something. Who knows when, but it's like, okay, the happening is accelerated. And so I'm like, why don't you try this thing out? Just do a fun fiat free challenge when everyone's doing it. And then you click on the hashtag and see other examples. Like, oh, and you can talk to people, and there's, do that now so that when time comes for it and you start seeing the collapse, you can get out and you're not floundering around for like, hey, how do I do everything? I don't know what to do. I don't know how to pay my bills. Learn now, because you might need it sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, definitely if you're not familiar, because you're more like a spectator of the space than an active participant, then go and watch Joel's new series that he's starting about living off of crypto, or the other one about how to get it. But I wanted to respond to what you're saying with, like, it is crazy, like, what is going on. It's like really crazy. I don't think people realize it, especially because, like, in certain countries, they haven't seen the effects of government doing what they're doing, but there are places where you have, and many things, just like this virus, seem really far away until they're, like, at your doorstep, but when they're there, it's real.
It's happening in Lebanon right now. We're going through a currency collapse.
Yeah, I think it's just too abstract for people, but, like, many people around the world have, like, experienced this kind of stuff, and, like, this stuff is, like, it's not a joke. It's not a joke, just because it seems like it's, like, super far away. So yeah, I just wanted to add that to what you were saying. But I got to go. Thank you for letting me know and letting the audience know about this challenge, and it's super informational. I was trying to write down all the different places you were talking about, so I'll try and put them in the description. So
yeah, and just watch the videos again. How to live on crypto on the Digital Cash Network, and I have transcripts for them as well, and I'll have links to the services in the transcripts in case you just don't want to watch a video.
All right. Okay, well, thank you for watching or listening, and have a great day. Bye.
Peace.